Live from JMT Studios, it's time for Two Jersey Kids, the best video game podcast on the planet.
What is up, all you Jersey kids out there? This is episode 49 of the gaming podcast that is Two Jersey Kids. I am the host, Adam Buckingham. Alongside me is my best friend, the best stick handler in the business, Gary Seisel. How you doing today, Gary? Did you see the subtle difference that I did with the introduction? You like that?
I like it. It feels good. It feels smooth. I'm happy to be here, as always, guys. It's been a little... Every time I say this, I feel like it's been so long since we've recorded, but it's really only been a week. I think it's just because of the one episode a week format we're now doing, but it's great to be here, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think the one episode format now is kind of gives us a break. You know, we can build up what we've been doing and sort of gain a slow following, because I want to create the right episode on Friday, because it seemed like when we were doing the Tuesday episodes, even though I did like shooting the shit, talking with you about it, it just felt like we were getting, I don't want to say drained, but it seemed like the Friday episodes also waned because we were just doing the Tuesday episode and we didn't know quite exactly what we wanted the Friday episode to be. And I feel like, you know, doing more and more singular episodes a week, we're sort of gaining our traction more and more. We're getting better and better. Not that we haven't before, but I feel like we're getting into the groove of this type of episode. And maybe in the future, which I can definitely see, we'll just, you know, speed along. Maybe when we break out the eventual Patreon page, I know we keep hinting at it, tipping at it, you know, throwing it in there. Maybe that'll be a goal eventually of bringing back Tuesday episodes if people want it. I don't know. All I know is I want all your money. Just kidding. I don't want that. I just want you all to listen. All you Jersey kids out there, I appreciate all of you for listening to the podcast, our gaming podcast. So if you're a new listener, please hit that subscribe button if you think we earned it at the end of the episode and you become an honorary Jersey kid. I know that's exciting stuff. But before we roll into all the news that's been going on in the video game industry, Gary, I want to know, what have you been up to, my good man?
It's been kind of an eventful week. So I may have a new job coming up here. It might be happening here, folks. I might actually have some money to spend. We'll see what happens there. It's kind of like an internship sort of thing. So I'll basically kind of get my foot in the door, get experience in my field, which is really the most important thing. So we'll see what happens.
That's a tip for all you people out there. Try to get, I know in college, getting internships, getting experience, no matter what it was you were doing, getting experience, being able to sell yourself later on because you're doing something you may not quite like exactly what you're doing. I know some research projects for engineering, and my engineering department was kind of rough doing those research projects. That wasn't like too exciting sometimes, but then you're able to sell yourselves later down the road when you get a better opportunity. So congrats, Gary. I'm happy for you. I'm sure this will lead to bigger and better things until Two Jersey Kids becomes the best thing, and we both can quit our jobs and become, fucking millionaires podcasters. Just kidding. That's probably never going to happen, but we hope one day.
Funny enough, I actually put in my hobbies and interests on my resume, this podcast is one of them, because I feel like it's actually relating to the internship that I'm kind of looking at, which is it's digital marketing coordinator. Nice. So it kind of relates, they want people that can manage a social media page, get the name out there, talk to customers, make sure the products in the store match what is on the website or what's on the social media page. So, of course, through Two Jersey Kids, this amazing podcast, this just empire podcast, I have experience in that, and so it's been interesting there. But in terms of video games, which is what everybody's here for, I've been playing just a steady dose of PUBG this week. I've been really getting into this game. I feel like I'm finally starting to hit my stride where, how like when you play new games, you kind of have to... What's up?
No, I had a question. I don't want to get off on what you're about to roll into, but I did want to ask you, do you feel like you're getting now more into PUBG because, the first-person aspect,
oh my God, yeah.
Where from what I saw from Twitch streams before, it seems like going from first or third person to first person adds sort of a different element to the game, more suspenseful, more you can't tell exactly. You can't tell if people are around the corner because you can't do the cheap third-person trick.
Yes.
I just want to get your thoughts on that. And is that why you're rolling more into PUBG?
Well, I'm going to explain, actually. I want to continue what I was saying, but I'll get into that as well. So basically, I was going to say, you know how when you start a new game, you have that period where you're kind of like always second-guessing yourself. You're not really comfortable yet. Well, I feel like I've finally gotten into that zone now where I feel comfortable in the game, and I feel more confident now challenging other people. So it's been a lot of fun kind of testing myself and challenging other players lately anyway.
What do you mean by challenging? Do you do the classic send them a message like, come at me, bro? Are you like one of those like little kids on Xbox or PlayStation where I'm going to kick your ass, 1v1 me?
I mean on the actual game, I mean challenging them like, just it's a one-on-one situation, they're in a building, you're outside of it, you rush into the house with a shotgun, and you just basically go balls to the wall against them. That's what I'm talking about. But I've been having so much fun doing that lately, and with regards to first person, in the limited time I've been able to play it, it's been a lot of fun. For people that don't know, PUBG is kind of having some server issues right now, and it's been unplayable. But first person is just so much better, in my opinion. I think it's the way that game should be played. I'm not really a big fan of third person to begin with, especially in competitive online shooters. And for me, first person, it just allows me to be more tactical. And in my personal opinion, I think that, before where someone could, like you said, could just sit around a wall and look around that wall without even peeking their head around the wall. I think that's kind of horse shit. So I kind of like the fact that I can be in first person now. If there's someone around the corner, they're going to have to poke out at some point, and we're going to both see each other at the same time, and we can both just fight it out. And if I die, I die. I have no problem with that. So I've been having a great time with first person. There's room for improvement. There's been some. Your character kind of feels really small compared to the environment. You kind of feel like you're 4 feet tall, so kind of weird. But other than that, though, it's been a great addition to the game. So,
well, I'm glad you're enjoying it because I know you're waffling on it for a little while now. So,
yeah,
that's exciting. And you've always been very good when it comes to first-person shooters. And are you getting used to the PC controls now? Are you getting used to that?
It's night and day between when I started and now. I mean, I still need to get better, but I feel so much better than I did before. It's honestly like it's just. For me, it was a keyboard I had to get used to the most. I mean, I was so unused to using a keyboard, and like where I had my fingers, I was constantly looking down before. I don't really have to do that anymore.
You learning the WASD layout? See what I did there? PC lingo.
Nice. Yeah, but other than that, though, with PUBG, I've been streaming a lot more now. It's been a lot of fun streaming with people, especially my friends. We'll play PUBG squads, stuff like that. So we're kind of just hanging out. I'm drinking some beer. We're saying some things to our players that aren't really nice, but they're kind of funny. So it's been a good time. Follow me, Scavenger 18 on Twitch
with a 3 in the middle because that's bullshit.
SCAV3 and GER 18.
We can get into this again, but I don't understand why you just don't do a different name that's more easily understandable.
I don't know. Well, I don't know why someone had Scavenger. Again, it's the worst name in the universe.
Gary Sisel, or just do Gary Sizzle. I don't know.
Could.
Gare Bear. Just do something that's catchy and easy to remember.
I like the privacy I have with my gaming life and then also my personal life, and I just can't stand other people that I don't want, seeing my podcast and or my gaming life. I don't want them interfering. So, you know what I mean. Privacy, people, which is so rare nowadays.
Call yourself the best stick handler.
Best stick handler in business. In the business.
It'd be a long Twitch name. I don't even think that would fit. But anything else you've been up to? I know you've been streaming more. How's the streaming been? Specifically streaming, has there been any hiccups with you trying to hop on Twitch and learn the intricacies of streaming and all the issues behind that?
To be honest, it actually has been a lot better. I finally found I had some problems with background noise in my mic. Found out that was a gain problem. I had to turn my gain all the way down, move the mic closer to my face. Other than that, though, I've kind of worked out most of the kinks. I mean, it can improve, but it's good enough for what I'm just trying to do now, and where I'm kind of just having fun and just trying to have somebody tune in. So anyway, that's been enough about me. I've gone on for like a few minutes now. So Adam, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, in the just me personally, I've been trying to learn more, better my skills when it comes to certain things. So maybe in the future, maybe I'll get a certain job. Who knows? I'm not really looking at the moment, but it's just it never hurts to learn more skills. Let's just say that. So I've been learning some HTML coding for website design, looking more into that, and then I've also been learning some more Swift, which is the coding for iOS, specifically when you want to make apps and stuff. Which I'm fine with the whole, because going through engineering, I had to learn a bunch of different coding languages. So the actual intricacies of the code itself doesn't really give me too much trouble when I'm doing these lessons. It's the fucking portions of like the layout when you're on a single screen window and trying to do the layout. And if anybody here is an engineer or has done any type of 3D modeling, so if you go to the 3D space of when you extrude your components and you finally put them all together in assembly, there's things called constraints, which in 3D modeling I finally got down towards like my senior year. After doing it a bunch of times and getting frustrated, I finally clicked in my brain. But so, for example, the constraint is you have a circle piece here, smaller circle piece here. You basically hit the edges and you say they're concentric. So now these pieces won't move and they'll only be concentric. And then, yeah, sorry, I don't want to.
Holy shit!
I don't want to blow your mind here, Gary. But then you like click the face of the piece and the face of the other piece, and then they match up, or they mesh, or you can say that they're certain distances away. So right now, with the whole Swift coding, the issue is learning how the constraints work in the layout. So when you're coding for a specific size of a iPhone, if it switched orientation, you don't want the fucking text bar to randomly shift down and to the left, or when you get to a larger screen, you want it to all be the same aspect ratio, basically. So I've been trying to learn how to do that, and it's been rather frustrating.
It sounds complicated.
It is rather frustrating to pick up, because it just seems like it's a guessing game sometimes, where it's like, is it going to work now, or is it not going to work? But that's neither here nor there. When it comes to the video game realm, this weekend I actually went over to sort of me and Marta's friends now, I could say. Marta was friends with them first, but I sort of slid on in there because that's what happens when, you're with somebody. Their friends become your friends. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into that now because that's not this type of podcast. Maybe in the future, Two Jersey Kids.
Relationship edition.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't think of a clever name off the top of my head, which is shocking because normally I can just ramble off random things. But yeah, I've recently it was like during a deal, something going on in the PlayStation Store, I bought Jackbox Party Pack 3, and then I bought a bundle which had the first pack and the second pack. And do you know what Jackbox Party is,
I've
Gary?
never heard of it, no.
Never heard of it? So it's specifically Jackbox started with a game called You Don't Know Jack. I think it started way back PlayStation era, maybe. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Maybe look that up for me, Gary, so I don't sound like a fool. If you do me a favor. Oh, we can hear his keyboard typing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This is the problem, dude. That's why I don't like to look up things during the podcast now. It's my keyboard.
Well, now people know we're actually doing shit while we're recording, so we're not lazy bastards. So it started with You Don't Know Jack, and it was a quirky trivia game where it's up to 4 people. You could play specifically on your controller. But now they have party packs where it's simple enough where most of the instructions and everything are displayed on the screen or your TV screen that's hooked up to your PlayStation. And it's simple enough to connect to your phone by going to this website, and you enter like a room code and you put your name in and you join. So games that can be up to like 8 people, and it's a lot of fun. Some of the people that I played with aren't big gamers, gamers so to speak. They do like board games, so I figured maybe they'll like this. Played that the whole night. We only played one board game in the beginning, and then they really enjoyed this, which I loved a lot. So our favorite games were like Drawful, which is people on their own individual phone gets a word to draw. So you draw it out so you sort of know the word, and then everybody sees the picture that you draw, and then they try to say what it is or they type in something to throw off other people to choose their answer, so they get points. So it's sort of like an interesting. It's an interesting game. I mean, it's really fun. It's a lot, especially when you can't erase anything, so you get some interesting drawing, so to speak. Then there's like Quiplash, which I really enjoyed, which is people answer little questions or fill in the blank type deals, and then it goes to the other 6 people, if there's 8 people, and they decide which is their favorite answer to the question. You get a certain amount of points based on the percentages that were attributed to your answer. Then you have like Fibbage, which goes into like random trivia, past history, fill in the blank stuff, and you guess what it would be, and then people answer. It's a lot of fun. I would recommend it if you actually want to bring. I recommend this party pack to bring it up to like family members if they're not into gaming, or friends that aren't into gaming, so to speak. They'll have a good time playing this. I guarantee it. There's a lot of cool games that people can wrap your head around. You don't need to download any crazy app. You just need to go to jackbox.tv and enter the room code. It's very simple. Works seamlessly most of the time. There were some dropouts, but when you go back in, you hop right back in. Really loved it. Adored it.
Cool.
Plan on bringing it back to future game nights. Moving on to what else? Since the PS Plus, Just Cause 3 came out. It came out for PS Plus, so for free. So I was planning on hopping in that. I said that last week that I wanted to hop into Just Cause 3 because I heard good things. It's a crazy open world sandbox style thing. So I ended up downloading it, started downloading it, got it installed, so I thought it was ready to go, and it did that BS thing that you saw like in past when you download Destiny way back when, where you get into the game and it says, oh, only 28% downloaded for the story mode. You can go to like sandbox mode, which you don't... All you can do really is just shoot random barrels and fly around with your fly suit and maybe drive around the somewhat of the island, which is not that fun. And it stated that it would take 3 hours for me to install the rest of it or download the rest of it. And I was like, I don't feel like waiting for all of this. I kind of wanted to hop into it. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise because there's been new indie titles that have been released recently. And I was just looking through the PlayStation stores, like, because I was telling you before we started this podcast, where right now it just feels like I'm in a drought where I just haven't clicked with a game. It's been a while since I've clicked, especially with third-person games. It's the last one that clicked really was Horizon, and before that was Neo, so it was like right back to back. So when I tried Metal Gear Solid 5, I thought it was fun, but I never felt the urge to go back to it.
Did you ever finish that?
No, I never finished it because I purchased it for like $5 during a sale, and I never felt like I felt like I understood what the game was, but I just didn't feel it, man. I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah. I know that feeling. It does really suck. You want to like a game, but you just kind of can't. You just can't get over that hump.
For some odd reason. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just don't have that itch for third-person action-adventure right now since I played Horizon, and I just don't have that itch, so to speak. And I found a game recently called Sundered. It was like an indie title. I've been hearing some rumblings about it, and I hopped into it. It's a Metroidvania-style game where you're going around fighting enemies, collecting gold, and once you die, you can then upgrade your character to continue on. Fantastic game. I am loving it. I played it before we recorded. I plan on going back to it after we're done recording. I keep thinking about it. This is when I now feel better, because right up until the point that I hopped into the game, I was nervous because it was only $20, so it's a good purchase too for it. I got up right to that point where I was like, do you ever have that paranoia or fright when you're about to purchase something? Like,
yes.
You are sitting on the gaming page or Amazon or whatever, and you're just like kind of nervous, like you don't know what to choose, like you don't know, like because you're afraid that if you choose wrong, you're like, shit, I just wasted basically money because I'm not going to put as much time into it. And then I realized, oh wait, I like these zany 2D side-scrolling kind of, not hack-a-slash, but it's sort of jumping around, gaining new abilities, being able to attack different monsters, going to boss battles, leveling up your character. Definitely, basically, like it's a straight-up Metroidvania game, gaining new abilities to unlock different areas. And I was like, I'm in. When I first hopped into the game, I was like, I'm sold.
I was going to say, I don't recommend getting into this habit, folks, but the one thing I always do if I'm about to buy something, like maybe if it's $20, $30, something like that, I think to myself, all right, I'll buy this. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But like, are you really going to be that bad out of shape like a month from now if you spent $30 and it didn't really pan out? That's the way I look at it. It's only money. I could be dead tomorrow. I could die tomorrow. So what does money actually mean, people? I don't know.
But if you're living in dire straits, do not spend money on a video game. I think you should have priorities, so to speak.
If it's food versus games, I would recommend going for food. So,
yeah, for sure. You can't really eat your disc after it pisses you off, so to speak. But I really like the art style. Beautiful game. Hopped into it. I was like, yes, I am sold. I am not pleasantly, but I am just surprised that I actually chose the right one, because sometimes I choose the wrong one for some stupid reason. Like, I was waffling on, like, oh, should I choose this zany indie title, 2D side-scrolling, that it would be right up my alley, that I always love, or should I go, like, Rainbow Six Siege, because it's on sale again for the 15th time? I'm like, I don't know what, and I'm glad
you made the right choice, because honestly, Rainbow Six Siege, like, I know I've heard great things about it, but I played it, back when it was it a beta or demo? Maybe, I'm not sure which.
Probably beta. No one uses the word demo anymore.
Yeah, who the hell knows? But anyway, I played it and I liked it. It was fun, but at the same time, I feel like you need a group of people, maybe like a nice squad to work with that you work with consistently in order to do well. Call me crazy, I might be wrong, but that's just my take.
If you need a squad on PS4, I know Two Jersey Kids fan Nikita out there. He's a fan of Rainbow Six Siege.
He is.
He did suggest us talking about a patch or DLC that was coming out that we had no clue last
that was
week.
unfortunate.
But he did suggest other things, which we appreciate. And you can always tweet us things you want us to talk about at Two Jersey Kids or our personal accounts, which you'll see Two Jersey Kids retweeting us all the time. Just cuz. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at Two Jersey Kids. Gary, man, this is going to be a nice, long, juicy episode, and I feel it. I'm digging this episode so far. I think it's been going well.
It's going excellent, sir. It really, that was like the longest introduction I think we may have ever had.
But it felt right. It felt smooth. It felt good. It did feel bulky, though. It felt like a nice chunk of the episode there. But, yeah, but people who enjoy this content, I mean, come on, they're going to stick around. Am I right, people?
Yeah, buddy.
Please hit that subscribe button, please. But it's time for This Week in Gaming, brought to you by Gatorade. But not really. It's actually brought to you by Moby Games. Gary, what has been released this week in gaming history?
The first game, thank you, Adam, for the suggestion on Twitter. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Was Kirby's Dream Land. It was released on Game Boy in 1992. Now, this, just to avoid confusion, was actually the European version. I usually go with the United States because I live in the United States. But it was released in Europe in 1992. This game for me was like a real nostalgic trip down memory lane. I loved this game growing up. Kind of like one of my earliest gaming memories on the original Game Boy. My sister and I used to play the hell out of this game. You could probably beat it within, I don't know, an hour, maybe less, if you were doing like some sort of crazy speed run. Pretty simple, but fun at the same time. So anyway, I went on Wikipedia, as I always do, because it's reliable, and I found some interesting facts about the game, and I'm just going to kind of read them off a little bit here. So the first one I found was that Kirby's Dream Land was developed by Mashiro Sakurai. I hope I got that right. Of HAL Laboratory. There you go. Now, Kirby initially was a dummy character. Dummy meaning he was basically just like a fill-in character that the developers used until they could define a more sophisticated image. However, the designers grew to like Kirby so much that they decided to keep him instead of using a more advanced character. Now, can you imagine if they didn't go with Kirby? Yeah.
I love me some Kirby. So simple, adorable character, and is the fucking best. He's rock solid in Super Smash Bros.
He did. Yeah, he used to kick my ass at that goddamn character. Anyway.
Or do the bull. Here's a tip for people out there that aren't the best at Smash Bros. Choose Kirby or like Link or anybody that has a good down B where you're just dropping down on people. That's what I would always use when I wasn't facing anybody good. And then I played somebody in college that was actually legitimately good that could do grapples and shields. And I was like, I'm fucking out of my league.
Yeah, man. But anyway. Moving on. During the development of what was then referred to as Twinkle Po Po Po, Popopo / Kirby's color had not been decided upon. Now, Mashiro wanted him to be pink, while Shigeru Miyamoto felt that he should be yellow. Eventually, Nintendo decided to make him pink, although pink is still Kirby's main color. Later games have used a yellow Kirby to represent the second player in multiplayer. When Kirby of the Stars was first released in Japan, it featured Kirby as being pink. However, Nintendo of America designed the North American box art and advertisements with a white Kirby based on the game's grayscale visuals. You know, black and white Game Boy for the win. Now, overall, the game received generally positive reviews, but it was ultimately knocked for being too simple and too short. I don't know. I personally liked those aspects of the game, but like I said, this is one of my earliest gaming experiences besides the original PlayStation, so this game will always have a special place in my heart. I still have it sitting upstairs in my room. I could play it at any time, and maybe I will at some point. But
I always want to get into the Kirby game just because I like what I see. Like back in the Wii era, I wanted to get into Kirby Yarn, but unfortunately, I wasn't really. Like, I always thought it looked cool, but I sort of had other things on my plate in the gaming spectrum, more advanced, more, more mature, there's the word, type of games where it was like Halo or Gears or, something that felt actually for, an older person, not a baby game, even though those games look adorable and I would love to go back and actually play them now.
Yeah, I can honestly still hear the main soundtrack of Kirby just playing in my head right now. In fact, whenever I hear the name Kirby's Dream Land or whatever it is, I just hear that music playing. So it's kind of annoying. It could probably drive you crazy after a little while. But moving on to the next game on the list here, I have Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Black Arrow, released on Xbox in 2004. Now, I wasn't really familiar with this game in particular, but I kind of recognized the box art. I don't know, kind of strange, but per the Rainbow Six wiki, it was, again, reliable sources, evidently, a key reason this game was published is kind of like it was like an expansion to, I guess, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, whatever game was, I guess, before this. It was kind of like an expansion or like an add-on. But apparently, a key reason that this game was published was to take advantage of Xbox Live, which was growing crazily at the time. They wanted to take advantage of the user-created tournaments, messaging, and clan statistics that you could, I guess, find on the game. But
there's something nostalgic about going back and remembering all it's specifically game in-depth features when it comes to clan creations or the friends list, but now it's all based on the systems itself instead of the game. I always go back to my classic, especially the original Xbox Live, Halo 2, where you could create clans and your friends list were specifically on there. I don't know, I just always remember
the good old days,
those type of days, and it just makes me nostalgic for those type of days. And not gonna lie, I'm gonna mention it all the time in this podcast. If you're gonna be a subscriber, there's gonna be Halo 2, Halo 3 mentioning in the future and beyond. I guarantee it.
How can you have a gaming podcast and not mention Halo 2? That's the big question there. But apparently this game actually did really well on this Xbox Live aspect because it was rated pretty well. IGN actually stated that, I quote, "Say goodbye to your nights and your weekends. This is your new online obsession." So apparently, like I said, this game did really well. It received a meta score of 84. The user score was actually a little bit higher. I actually kind of find that funny. I feel like the user scores are either drastically lower than the website review scores or the user scores are higher. It's kind of like a weird kind of relationship there. But yeah, the game did really well. Never played it personally, but I've know a lot of people that actually really weren't into video games that much. I had a lot of friends in high school that loved Rainbow Six, just absolutely loved it. So
I got into the Rainbow Six scene when it was Rainbow Six Vegas. I really enjoyed the terrorist hunt co-op going through on harder difficulties and trying to take out all the terrorists. A lot of fun. But yeah, I know what you mean about the box art. I don't think I've ever played it, but I do remember that box art for some odd reason. I can't place it. One thing before getting into the actual gaming news, tip for people out there: when your teachers say that Wikipedia is not the best source, I guarantee you it is. If it says that there's things cited, use, I wouldn't say specifically quote or get anything from the Wikipedia article itself, but see what is actually useful in the Wikipedia itself. Check the footnotes. Where it's mentioned, go down to that. bingo bango, you got yourself a source.
That's true.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Wikipedia, they may say, but just because it's all put into a convenient place, so I don't think teachers want you to go the cheap route that way. So
part of the
Wikipedia is a good start when you're doing research and all that jazz.
Part of the problem too is that these teachers they want you to use the school library. Go to the library. Go use EBSCOhost because everybody loves using EBSCOhost. Fuck that shit. I hate. Oh my god! Every time I had to go to the library, I wanted to just rip my eyes out of my head.
Jesus,
I am not kidding.
I actually enjoy books. Not when it came to research, so I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what it was like way back when, where you had to actually go find books, look through it, go through the index, find
card catalog,
find things that you needed. Oh, thank God for the internet for our time in schooling. Made things a little more convenient. Moving on to the actual gaming news, it's not as thin this week, so that's exciting. We're going to start it off with apparently there's been Stardew Valley multiplayer plans for the game Stardew Valley. I know you were a fan of it, Gary. We'll get into it when I'm done reading this, so hold your horses. Multiplayer mode will allow 4 people to play together. One person will play the main role while the others will be used as helping hands. These, quote, farm hands, end quote, will live in cabins on your farm, be able to farm, mine, fish, and forage, and marry your town's NPCs. Farm hands will not be able to skip time by sleeping, start or end festivals, or pick whether to side with the evil corporation Joja. I don't even know what that means. Maybe you can explain to me, Gary. People mostly want to know whether or not they can marry other players, specifically actual players. It has not been officially confirmed. There has not been officially confirmed for player-to-player marriage. God, I can't speak right now. But publisher Chuckfish, in a blog post, stated, quote, "A lot of players have requested player-to-player marriage. It's an idea we like a lot and want to make available as a feature. Player-to-player marriage won't use the mermaid pendant, but rather an alternative method that requires a similar amount of effort to wooing an NPC. We're still working out what that will be," end quote. So, Gary, before I continue, I want to throw this out there. You should marry me. I'll be a good husband for you. Stardew Valley's multiplayer is still a ways away since it'll be released sometime in 2018. However, there will be a beta via Steam at the end of the year before it rolls out in early 2018 for PC, Mac, and Linux. And after that, it's probably coming to consoles. Gary, thoughts?
I'm really excited about this. I mean, I really liked this game single player. I always found it kind of really relaxing. It was one of those games where I'm so used to playing like competitive shooters and whatever, and it was just a fun change of pace to sit there and kind of just build a farm, and the music was always kind of cool in the game. So it's going to be fun. I think this game will be a lot of fun to play with friends, like just kind of relax, drink. I always say this, but drink, because drinking's awesome. But yeah, just kick back, play with some friends, drink some beers or whatever you're into, and I think it'd just be a great time. And of course, you can marry your friends, so that'd be even better.
Yeah, it seems perfect from what I've seen of Stardew Valley. It kind of reminds me of a calmer, not as hectic or crazy version of Don't Starve multiplayer aspect, where people really enjoyed Don't Starve multiplayer, going around trying to survive together, where it seems like this is more of on the toned-down, calmer side, but more in-depth, more features that you can do, whether it's mining, farming, foraging, all that jazz. Yeah.
Well, actually, to explain, by the way, to you and I guess everybody else that doesn't understand, the evil corporation Joja is actually you start out, like the way the story is, it's pretty simple. You start out and you're working for this corporation, and it's like day after day, it's the same thing. You're just going through the motions, and then eventually one day,
style.
Yeah, you're going through the motions, and then all of a sudden one day you just decide you're going to quit, and you pull out this note that your grandfather gave you the day he died, and it's basically like directions to this cabin that he had in this farm, and
Jesus,
lo and behold, you go off and start a new life. And sometimes I'm like, that sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, great game. I would recommend it to anybody.
Thank you for that, Gary. That was very well put. Moving on. There's been actually apparently rumors heating up about the Crash Insane trilogy coming to Xbox One. According to Press Start, Vicarious Vision artist Kara Visa, who created the save/load screens for the game, uploaded a video of some in-game footage to her portfolio that displays Xbox control inputs in the Crash Insane trilogy style, added more fuel to the rumor that started back in June when Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy Xbox One listing popped up on Hungarian game site Supergamer. Now, I don't really like, because there's going to be another rumor article in the future of this podcast. I don't really like to go too much into rumors, but it does make sense. I don't understand why. I would say, like, maybe they did a PC build and they were using an Xbox controller and that's what happened. Who knows? Maybe it actually is coming for Xbox, but me personally, I think that is actually a good idea for them to bring it to Xbox, because it's been the Crash Insane Trilogy has been doing so well. I saw it's been charting in the UK the past 4 weeks, which is insane. And since Activision owns the Crash IP, I would not be surprised if they brought it to Xbox. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it to PC via Steam. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it to Switch. I mean, I am not against companies trying to get as much money out of a property as they can, which it opens up a fan base that's maybe never played Crash Bandicoot, and maybe they'll want to hop in to play the first 3 games that are completely remastered, look amazing from what I've seen. And I can only see with the success of the Crash remastered, I could see them actually rebooting other portions of the Crash franchise, like Crash Team Racing, which is one of my favorite kart racing games of all time. That game is phenomenal. I loved it. It's better than Mario Kart 64 for sure. For sure.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I know. Maybe blasphemy, but it's true. It's damn true. And then I also kind of think maybe since with the success, maybe Activision will see, like, oh shit, people really do care about Crash. Maybe they'll actually reboot the franchise and do new things. Now, I don't know if I want Activision to reboot the franchise, especially because, you know, it was originally in the hands of Naughty Dog, which turns out to be one of the best developers in, you know, the video game industry now. So I don't know what studio could actually handle the Crash franchise, rebooting it from the ground up with a completely new game, but I could definitely see that happening with the success of the Insane Trilogy.
Indeed. And you kind of touched on what I was going to say, but it's really a win-win if they brought it to the Xbox, because if you think about it, you know, you're going to be hitting people that obviously haven't had experience with the Crash Bandicoot series. You know, maybe they're too young or just never played it, didn't have a PlayStation at the time. But you're also tapping into people that maybe switched over to the Xbox years ago and just haven't been back to Sony since. So they're going to have a chance now to play, you know, a game that they loved growing up when they had a PlayStation 1. So you're going to be able to definitely make a killing if you brought it to the Xbox. And I mean, it's a rumor, so it may not come true, but it wouldn't be a bad move financially, I don't think. I'm no genius.
If they brought it to the Switch right now, they would be killing too, because the Switch doesn't have too many games there too. And I'm sure they would get those articles where it says, "Oh, the Insane Trilogy is coming to the Switch. Let's
the
point
Switch
it out.
Is back." Yeah, it's like, here we go.
Speaking of Nintendo, apparently the SNES Classic Edition pre-orders will start late August via their official Facebook account. Nintendo posted, quote, "We appreciate the incredible anticipation that exists for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super NES Classic Edition system, and confirm that it will be made available for pre-order by various retailers late this month. A significant amount of additional systems will be shipped to stores for launch day and throughout the balance of the calendar year." End quote. Gary, do you believe this?
I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, but I will say that if this is actually the strategy they're taking, that it's a very good move on their part. It looks like they're finally making enough units for people that want to buy them, and they're actually going to have them in stores, you can find them there. That sounds crazy.
We'll see.
And I might, I'll. What's up?
I will see. I was going to say we'll see what actually happens when people pre-order. If it's within an hour and they're already out of stock, I'm like, oh well, here we go again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's like, look, if the pre-order sells out, okay, that's one thing. But like if they have them in stores, you know, throughout the year, you can find them at some point. I think that's a good thing. I mean, otherwise, like, what was it? The hell was the first one they released? I can't even remember right now for some reason.
The NES Classic Edition, man.
The NES Classic.
Come on,
whatever.
Man. Just
you couldn't find
it
anywhere. Literally nowhere you couldn't find it. So, I mean, you know, if you can find it throughout the year, then they've made a good move, as long as they make enough units.
It's really frustrating, though, if we wouldn't be able to, because I still can't find a Switch on a store shelves at all.
That's true. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the only way I could purchase one would be a bundle, which I don't like. buying extra shit that I don't need. Maybe buying a bundle with just an extra game like Legend of Zelda sounds good to me, but walking into Target or Best Buy and walking through Nintendo, one, you don't even have the Switch up for people to play. Like I've seen constantly where the Switch you're not even able to play in the store itself. But it's just frustrating when you look down and you just don't even see any console available to play, and it's just kind of frustrating, honestly, because I did toy with getting a Switch way back when, and I kind of still toy with it to this day, but they're not making it any easier for me. But yeah, hopefully I really want the SNES Classic Edition. I want to play these games that I've never actually gotten around to play because I was too young. Wasn't my time yet. So hopefully I can get my hands on this. So moving on. So Midnight Club. Oh shit! I keep hitting the pop filter. I'm sorry for people's ears. I keep, for some reason, because I set it up in a new place just to switch things up, because I realize now that when I read from my laptop, I lean more to where my laptop is, so I figured I would put the mic closer to where my laptop, if it makes sense, because then I'll lean closer to the mic. It's just a natural thing. But back to the article. Redditor Derek2502 posted a Midnight Club screenshots where you can see in the article that I got this from, was pulled from Xbox servers. This is a quote from Video Game 24/7 in their article itself. Quote, "The source links provide look reasonably genuine, but even assuming they've since been locked down, so we can't claim to have seen these assets in situ. I don't even know, to verify them." End quote. Honestly, looking at this, they also debunked some of the things where they had an old 2015 car in the image itself, but the font for Midnight Club was somewhat different, and I'm honestly not really sort of believe this rumor, and I kind of wanted to bring this up not because of Midnight Club, the rumor of it coming back, which I would honestly adore it coming back. I would love it, because I loved Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition way back when. Classic game. But it just feels like nowadays the AAA studios that are developing racing games, whether it's Project Cars or Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsports or F1 or Gran Turismo, it seems like we had this conversation when it came to sports video games, where it feels like people are going more to the simulation, more realistic route, which is great. I'm fine with that. But also, I want it for people that are more into the arcade style racing, which I am. I miss those style games, and I miss the old Midnight Club where it was goofy and you could drift more, street racing, adding flames, neon lights to your car for shits and gigs, because you can't do that in real life because you look crazy when you do that. But there hasn't been that great of a Need for Speed game in a while. I know they're rebooting the franchise. Hopefully it'll be great. It just feels like there hasn't been an arcade style racing game in a long while, and I kind of, when I was reading this and seeing these screenshots, I kind of got a little nostalgic for Midnight Club and these old crazy arcade racing games like Midnight Club and Burnout and Need for Speed, and do you feel what I'm putting down? You smelling what I'm shitting, Gary?
Well, that's an interesting way of putting it, but yeah, I am feeling it, I guess. I always I was never a big racing person to begin with, although a lot of the games I had early on in my life were racing games. I always preferred like you said, the arcadey games. I like Need for Speed. In fact, I think Need for Speed Most Wanted was probably my favorite racing game ever. I love that game. I like the fact that you had your car and you could put crazy turbo on it to the point where the car is just so ridiculously fast. You could just get an inhuman speeds. I mean, it was just a lot of fun that way. I'm not really much into the simulation aspect or the simulation car racing games. I've never played them. Or, well, I have. That's a lie. I played Gran Turismo years ago. I think it was Gran Turismo
3? I'm going to guess 3.
Maybe 2. I think it was 2.
Damn, I was off by 1.
But I think I did have 3 as well on PlayStation 2 for a little bit. But I never played it because it just didn't really appeal to me. But yeah, I know what you mean though. I kind of do wish more the fun games come back. The ones that are kind of allow for more craziness and stupid shit to happen, as opposed to just the same old, realistic racing game.
Yeah, I just want more fun in my video games. That's all I want.
I need fun in my life.
When it comes to sports, video games, or racing, I want more goofiness. Honestly, for Psyonix Studios, who developed Rocket League, which we'll be talking about them later on, not for this point, but if they put their racing mechanics and their gameplay into an actual just straight up racer, that seems like a lot of fun, because when you played Rocket League, it controls so well. I'd be like, I would love just fucking challenging people online racing in that. It just feels great. But moving on, apparently Rockstar is getting sued over a character from 15 years ago in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Kind of strange. So Rockstar has been sued in the past about likeness of real life people or characters portrayed on screen. For example, Lindsay Lohan sued Rockstar for GTA 5 cover art, but apparently it's happening again, but this time it's for a character for Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which came out 15 years ago. The suit was brought by Psychic Readers Network, claims Rockstar has made more than $500 million quote-unquote exploiting Miss Cleo's persona. Do you remember Miss Cleo way back when? We were too young for this, but
yeah,
I know it's been mentioned constantly.
I was never one to pay attention to characters when I was younger playing Grand Theft Auto games. I was more or less beating people with baseball bats.
But the Miss Cleo is actually somebody that was a TV commercial where you would dial in to get your
no, I
fantasy
wouldn't remember her either.
Yeah, they said that they were exploiting Miss Cleo's persona, and points out that the company hired the actress who used to play Miss Cleo in real life, Yuri Harris, to voice Auntie Poulet. You might ask that since Vice City came out in 2002, or 2002 as normal people say, why now? Psychic Readers Network says Rockstar keeps making money from Vice City due to reissues and packages, so a suit now is appropriate. I don't get that, but okay. Rockstar has a response statement, quote, "These claims are entirely meritless and completely ridiculous. We will vigorously defend ourselves with regard to this matter." I'm glad they're defending themselves, even though I don't think they have to. The strange thing that I feel is that Rockstar specifically hired this actress to play this character specifically. I know it's somewhat a likeness of it, but it obviously not completely one-to-one. But this character is getting paid for this role. Yeah. She knew what she was getting into. She knew what the character was. And then now, 15 years later, they're quote-unquote upset about it. I think it's because, me personally, I feel like it's just because people have understood, are now coming around to the bullshit that is psychic readers and how they're not actually true. And, the Psychic Readers Network's like, shit, we need to make money. How do we do that?
I went to school with somebody. Okay, this is getting off a little bit, but I went to school with somebody that actually believed that, what the hell was that woman that was really famous? A famous psychic on TV.
I don't
know. She really believed that person was real, and really, it was like a real show. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I getting on point here to this whole thing, I feel like there's people that sit around all day and are just looking for things they can possibly sue companies and people for. Like, you see all the time on TV, you have these ambulance chasers, these lawyers on TV, like, if you have been injured at work in the past year, if you have scraped yourself on your desk, you may be entitled to cash compensation. Like, no. Like, seriously, these people are just looking for money, dude.
That was on point, man. That was on point.
Because I've seen them so many times. I'm bombarded with them every fucking day. And honestly, when I read this article, as soon as I saw Psychic Readers Network, I immediately wrote it off. I mean, who the hell is going to believe this? Who the hell are the Psychic Readers Network? I mean, is that even credible in any sense? No.
No, not at all.
These people are paid to just spew bullshit. No, absolutely not. This is the most absurd thing I've heard in a while when it comes to lawsuits, but my God, dude.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you could sue somebody over a character that was created. It could be based off somebody else, but it's not 100% stealing that property. I mean, I don't know.
The big thing here is 15 years later. 15 years. I mean, my God. Are you kidding me? I played Vice City when I was, I don't even know what year I was. What grade was I in? I mean, come on now. It was 2002. I was in
We were 9,
fourth?
Gary.
Fourth grade? I mean, seriously, they are. I mean, come on, 15 years later, and now you're filing this lawsuit. I think the time has passed here, folks. It's time to move on. Go find some other loophole you can exploit somewhere down the line to sue people for and make money off it, please.
Agreed. Moving on. Apparently, Mass Effect Andromeda studio BioWare Montreal will be absorbed by EA Motive. BioWare Montreal, the studio behind this year's much-aligned Mass Effect Andromeda, will be fully merged with EA Motive. Many BioWare Montreal staff have been moved over already to Motive, following the decision to put Mass Effect series on ice and not make an immediate Andromeda sequel. EA has now confirmed the annexation to TechRaptor in a quote, "The teams in EA Worldwide Studios are packed with talent and more than ever. We're driving collaboration between studios on key projects with multiple major projects in development in Montreal. We are merging BioWare Montreal with Motive Studios. This is an ongoing process, but there are many exciting roles and opportunities for everyone on the team," end quote. If you wanted to know, Motive Studios is currently working on the single-player portion of Star Wars Battlefront 2, as well as its own Star Wars action-adventure title, which has yet to be unveiled. What are your thoughts, Gary?
Well, first of all, everybody is shitting on BioWare. Everybody hates them now. I mean, not everybody, but so many people, especially in the comments section, which I made the mistake of going into the cesspool that is online comments. Mm-hmm. People are just ripping apart BioWare, saying like, "Oh, you have so much talent, you gotta, move them into one studio," and like they're just like ripping them apart constantly about how, they don't have any faith in BioWare anymore to get anything done. And it's like, look. Mass Effect Andromeda, yes, it was, very disappointing. I don't think it was a complete failure. Financially, I'm sure they did very well. At least I think they did.
We talked about on previous episodes where it wasn't really so much as a failure because people enjoyed the story itself. It was more of a technical issue and not having enough time to fix all those bugs and all that jazz.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it was disappointing, but I think that BioWare over the years has proven that they can make great games. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think that's very true. And if you have some stumbles along the road here, I mean, I think it's to be expected. I mean, there are human beings here running this company. But
and also the Montreal studio is not the main BioWare itself.
No,
they're not the guys behind the original Mass Effects, the Mass Effect series, or old games you're used to like KOTOR. But I would like to point out. I would like to make note, you would probably appreciate this. I want to put, attention, alert, a warning here not for anybody listening. Well, maybe somebody, if you're listening. If you're on the CD Projekt Red team.
Oh, damn it. I was going to say something about that.
Watch out, because you may all of a sudden you may be the internet darling. You may be the Reddit love child. They may love you. But if you fuck up once, that fucking Reddit child will push you off the cliff and will not care about you anymore. And that's the thing that frustrates me so much with the video game audience is that they spew from the mountaintops how they hate this, hate that, they hate EA, hate Activision, but then they go run out and buy the games, but yet they want to spew hate to people on Twitter or send hate mail or send disgusting things when I guarantee you're too much of a pussy to say that to their face. It frustrates me to no end, and you're ruining people's lives just because all of a sudden they didn't meet your expectations, but you just want to spew hate because there's something you're just angry about something. It's just a warning to CD Projekt Red. I hope that never happens to you, and I'm sure you'll keep producing great games, but just a warning is it can just shift on a dime, it seems like.
Oh yeah. One mistake anymore, that's all it takes is for people to turn on you. And I mean, there's already people that will hate on something that hasn't even done anything wrong anyway. So I mean, it's just you have haters all the time. And I'm waiting for the day, honestly, where we have haters of this podcast. I want that day where someone says, "Hey, you suck," and I want to just really bask in the hatred.
Do you know what that means, Gary? Though, is if that happens to us, that means we made it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for that day. It's going to happen. Someone's going to say how much we suck and how they hate Gary because he's a pompous douche. And I'm waiting for that day. Bring it on.
They'll say they hate me because I ramble too much and I sound like a fucking buffoon. But, it's going to be... As long as we can laugh it off, that's all that matters. But our final two things actually comes from a Twitter follower of Two Jersey Kids at Gale Prime. who is a fan of the podcast and, likes some of the things that I tweet. And he started off, he wanted our thoughts on the 20-language auto ban Psyonix Studios are putting into Rocket League. So I'll just actually going to read Psyonix blog post regarding this new ban system Gale Prime is actually referencing if you wanted to know. Quote, this week we're building on our player report system by adding a new layer of automation to the report ban process. This automation, simply called the language ban system, will automatically ban players from online matches. When certain words, racial slurs, for example, are seen in reports filed by other players. While we have an initial list of over 20 words and variants, the list, parentheses, which will not be making public, in parentheses, will continue to evolve over time and include words and phrases from multiple languages. Each word has its own threshold, and once a threshold for any word has been reached, that player will automatically subject to a ban. These bans will typically start at 24 hours, then escalate to 72 hours, 1 week, and finally a permanent ban. Of the thousands of reports we receive every day, the majority are tied to in-game abuse and harassment, typically in the form of abusive language. This new language ban system will help us address reports quickly and precisely while we also continue our usual monitor of Reddit and other social channels for feedback. We will organically update our ban policies and system logic as time goes on, of course, but the Rocket League community is the most important element of them all. So if you see another player using abusive language during your match, please report them, mute them, and let us take care of the rest, end quote. And I before we get into our thoughts, I kind of wanted, because Gale Prime tweeted this, I wanted his thoughts. He did a quick little follow-up tweet, quote, it's a system that could be useful against highly toxic / troll-like players, but I'm skeptical of letting an AI decide what is right and wrong. Gary, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I mean, the Rocket League community is infamously toxic, which is interesting to me. But
that seems like it comes with any type of competitive
online
game that actually lasts for a long time in the online community.
Counter-Strike.
Dota. League of Legends. It's
horrendous.
It's just crazy.
But I mean, this is a good start. I feel like if they're trying to limit the amount of bullshit that happens in the game. I've seen firsthand, I've watched people play this game. I don't really play it much anymore, but I've watched people play like duos online, and our team's talking shit. They're saying all types of stuff to them in the chat and everything. So this is a good first step, I feel, to getting rid of those players. Whether or not, I mean, I guess it depends on what words they have that they're going to ban. I just feel like it's so hard to monitor an online scene like this, especially one as massive as Rocket League, because there's so many players, there's so many people saying things. It's just, I don't know if you're ever really going to get rid of the problem, and I don't know what. We'll see how this plays out, but I mean, I don't know. It's a good start, but I don't know if it's ever really going to get rid of the problem permanently.
I do appreciate the capital punishment that is a permanent ban. That's fucking dropping the hammer. I like that. Fucking make it stick. But I know Gale Prime mentioned he's skeptical of an AI deciding what is right and wrong. And I was wondering if actual humans are reporting this issue. Is it really an AI making the choice first off to report? And also the confusing thing is, how do you cultivate this? Does the AI go into the message itself? Does the AI understand what's going on? Like, what exactly is being reported? How do you verify that this person stated this? Like, do you have to report if somebody sends you a message, or you report a previous game? Does the AI actually comb through the previous game and see who said what? I don't know exactly what the system entails. It just seems like there could be... Because, you never know. Some people could actually get frustrated and say, like, oh, man, we just got our ass kicked, and not actually be upset about it, but they say report abusive language where somebody just says, man, fuck that, or something along those lines, and then this system picks up on that one word, fuck, and goes off on, another level.
Well, there's actually an interesting situation happening right now in PUBG, or Player Unknown Battlegrounds, or whatever it's called. Oh, boy. One sec.
Uh-oh. Somebody opened the door to Gary's little studio.
There's an interesting situation going on in that game right now where a lot of I don't know if it's a lot of streamers, but there's one well-known one called Mr. Grims, and he's being stream sniped right now.
What does that mean, stream sniped? Is that they look at their stream and try to take him out?
Exactly. So it's happening a lot, and he's been freaking out about it, kind of kind of making a fool out of himself in a way. He's kind of looking very egotistical because now anybody that kills him, he now suspects of stream sniping him, so he's constantly reporting people and blah, blah, blah. So what's interesting is now people are being banned. Like, you'll see people on the PUBG Reddit like, oh, I just got banned the other day because I killed Grims. I had no idea it was him until after I killed him. But I was banned for like – and that's the thing. It's like we're getting back to Rocket League here. What exactly is the ban criteria? What is the AI looking at? Are you sure that these bans are going to be handed out to people that really deserve the ban? And that's the toughest thing, I feel like, for all these gaming companies is how do you really get rid of toxic players or cheaters or hackers? I just don't know how it's going to – I mean, you hope it eventually gets to the point where that can be done, but it's so hard.
In the terms of stream sniping, though, you make good points as like how do you eliminate all of that, especially in Rocket League, because somebody could just be upset in doing that. But when it comes to the specific streamer that's doing PUBG for, he has a large audience and is doing it for, basically getting revenue, is it that much of a crazy thing to figure out how to put your stream on a 30-minute delay? I don't know if that's any difficult. Like, can you do that so you're just say, like, oh, now that it's a 30-minute delay, you'll still see everything that I'm doing. It's just 30 minutes. I know you'll have less of an interaction, so to speak, of answering questions. I don't know exactly if he answers more questions, but you can have, like, a after-match question session where you bring it back to the normal set way. I don't know.
With Mr. Grimm's, like I don't want to bash him at all because Reddit is doing enough of that already.
Of course.
With him, like he does an overlay. So when he starts a game, when he's dropping into a location, he puts an overlay up that says like joining new game, and then after he lands, that's when he takes the overlay off and you see where he is. So he does do that, but he doesn't have a stream on delay at all. So in that sense, he is, in a way, very much at fault for getting stream sniped if he actually is. I just think he's really paranoid right now about everybody coming to kill him because he's that good, which he is actually that good. But yeah, it isn't really that hard to do a delay. I think I have one on him. Yeah, I'm almost positive I do. Not that I'm, getting 17,000 viewers a night. but yeah.
It's just strange as some people like to blame other people for their fault. I mean, I can understand like they get upset by stream sniping where it happens once or twice where it seems like it's coming to be more of a thing, but you then can take steps yourself to change that. Where when it comes to abusive language, though, it's sort of you can't really take steps if people are just being assholes to you, honestly.
Exactly. And in his case,
the pop filter again. Sorry, people.
In his case, right now he's going on these rants. He's constantly egged on to go on these talks about stream sniping and blah blah blah. And now I think he's making it worse on himself because now more people are targeting him. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the internet, man. It's a wonderful place.
I was just laughing because eventually when we become huge, it's going to be a drinking game to see how many times I hit the filter or how many times I say fucking or some bullshit. Moving on to the final thing that Gale Prime wanted us to talk about. He wanted our thoughts on the new Nintendo 2DS XL. I know we touched on it last week somewhat, but I personally think that the handheld space for Nintendo is actually kind of being swallowed up by Switch, so I'm not sure where this fits in the marketplace. I do think that it's smart for Nintendo's design that they're going to form this in the other style DS clamshell shape instead of the crazy, weird square design that they had for the past 2DS. Do you remember that, Gary, when it was released? It was literally it was basically if you had a clamshell flipped all the way up without any hinges. There was no hinges. It was just straight plastic. And it was a large square with two screens. Made absolutely...
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Made absolutely no sense. So bringing it back to the clamshell makes sense. But I'm kind of confused with the naming convention of all Nintendo's DSs in the past and the fact that they're going back to 2D, so they're getting rid of the 3D, so I guess the production cost will be less. But then it's technically now back to 2D and it's clamshell shape, so wouldn't it technically just be a Nintendo DS and not a 2DS? The fucking naming convention is weird, and I kind of want to go through the previous DSs that have been released and when they released and like their title. I do want to note that the 2DS XL does kind of look pretty sweet. I watched the video Gale Prime sent me and it was a good video and I liked how the way it looked. I guarantee it. What is that? What is that from?
Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse commercials.
Sponsor us, please. We love sponsors. We have none. Starting off in 2004 when it was originally released, you have the Nintendo DS. Then 2006, you have the Nintendo DS Lite. Then 2008, you have the Nintendo DSi. Then 2009, you have the Nintendo DSi XL. Then you have 2011, you have the Nintendo 3DS. Then 2012, you have the Nintendo 3DS XL. Then you have in 2013... you have Nintendo 2DS, that monstrosity. Then from 2014, roughly 2015, you have the new Nintendo 3DS. Then around the same time, you have the new Nintendo 3DS XL, and now you have the new Nintendo 2DS XL. Jesus, this naming convention is bonkers, makes no sense, and I kind of thought it was kind of funny how we were talking about with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, and how we're worried about them slipping into the mobile-style market of releasing new things every few years. It's kind of interesting that it's flown on the radar that Nintendo has been doing that with their handhelds for the past 13 years now, and no one said a goddamn thing.
Yeah, it is a little weird, and it's also strange. You know, I didn't really think about it before, I guess, but with the Switch, I mean, they really did kind of just effectively kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, I feel like, because I feel like, I don't know if the Game Boy is necessarily a cheaper alternative. Maybe you don't want a console at all. Like, you just don't want a console, so you just buy the portable version, which is cheaper, but like, it is weird because they came out with that hybrid console, so it's like you don't really know where the Game Boy fits in anymore. Or the Nintendo 2DS or new Nintendo 2DS XL. I don't know why they have to throw the new in there, but yeah.
And realistically, if you were owner of a Switch, would you rather, and you own a 2DS XL and you own a Switch, and you're going on, say, a trip where you have a charger that can plug into the Switch itself when you're going into different public places or, you know, into the airplane itself, would you rather take the Switch or would you rather take the 2DS XL? I feel like most people would lean towards the Switch because you have more modern games now. Mind you, the 2DS XL actually has a larger library than the Switch right now, so maybe that'll lean people to actually continue with the 2DS XL. But I do see that the Switch has to eventually in the future bring those games to it in some virtual console or something along those lines where they can bring that library now to the Switch itself. And that's why I just think that the 2DS's or the DS itself should be gone. It's going to be gone soon. Is if it makes sense for Nintendo itself to actually use all their developers, the ones in the past that were specifically focused on the DS games that they're creating, and now have them focus also on the Switch. So now you have both the console developers and now the handheld developers all focusing and concentrating on the Switch, where you can then bring out a more steady stream of games and new experiences that the Switch can offer. I feel like that's the route that Nintendo should go in the future.
That's actually a very good idea, in my opinion. I mean, you know, I'm not like some sort of CEO or anything, but I think that's a good idea. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me to have a Nintendo Switch and a Game Boy, if you want to call it that, existing in the same marketplace. It just kind of feels weird to me.
Gary,
it's kind of redundant.
Nintendo DS, damn it. Say Nintendo DS.
It's a Game Boy, damn it. It's always a Game Boy to me.
Oh, you sound like a fucking old man. One of those Game Boy console things.
I went on the Facebook the other day, and then the Instagram, and then the YouTube. You gotta have the in front of everything.
Yeah, that's been it for the news. So I want to thank you, Gale Prime, at Gale Prime on Twitter, for submitting your two topics. That we greatly appreciate that. Before we go into what we are going to be doing for the rest of the weekend, I do want to shout out to, we got a new rating. We're up to 20 ratings now, which is insane, Gary. That's exciting stuff. Am I right?
Yeah, man.
Am I right? We finally got a new rating by Mac_Wells93. Fantastic game podcast that everyone should check out and listen to. Enjoy listening to on my way to and from class. Well, I really appreciate you checking us out as you walk to class. I know we can be a nice, stress relief, so to speak. What'd you say, Gary? You sort of cut out there.
I said, yeah, man.
Oh, okay. But Gary, before we sign off, before we go through the rigmarole of the final things that I normally say, you have anything you want to announce or talk about, or for the weekend, what do you want to do? What are we doing? I don't know. What do you want to do? What do you want to put out there?
I could have mentioned this in the beginning of the podcast, but I'll say it now. The Destiny 2 episode that I wanted to do for the beta, I'm going to wait until the PC version comes out, or at least the PC beta. I feel like by the time I wanted to do... Yeah, I guess I could do that. But I just felt like by the time I was going to do the Destiny 2 beta episode, it was like a week later practically. So I felt like it was kind of not fresh anymore, and maybe people would have listened to it, but again, it wouldn't have been fresh in my mind or for people in general. So I'm going to wait until the PC version comes out. But anyway, for the rest of the week, I'm going to be playing more PUBG. Hopefully the game actually is fixed. Hopefully the servers get fixed, because right now it's basically unplayable, like I was saying earlier. But I'll be streaming that as I have, and I'll probably stream it tonight since it's Friday. This is the Friday episode. I'll be streaming it tonight. And probably on the weekend as well, Saturday and Sunday.
What about Saturday, Gary? What are we doing?
Yeah, that's the thing. So we were toying with the idea, people, that we were going to do a joint stream. Now, what we're going to do, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I know Adam might actually come over. And after all, we're getting close to that 50th episode here. So we wanted to do something special for all you people out there. So
yeah, I was thinking maybe I'd just drive up to Jersey because Marta's out of town and, hang out with my best bud on Saturday. Maybe we do a joint stream. Maybe we could live stream an episode. I don't know. Live stream a bullshit episode where we just talk about life. I don't know. Do something special for the 50th, because this is insane that the next week we're going to be 50. We hit 50. That is insane.
We're only a few weeks away from year 1 being done of the Two Jersey Kids podcast.
It flew by. It like when we first did it, we never expected to get anywhere near where we are now in a year. So to speak, especially for a young up-and-coming podcast, we are up-and-coming, damn it. But for a young podcast that we just started from the ground, where basically the only people that had Twitter followers were me, and I only had like 100 or so. Started the podcast, slowly growing. Now it seems like we're getting close to 400, over 400 downloads per episode, which is insane to me. I did not expect that at all, which is really cool. I appreciate everyone that listens to the podcast. So if you are a new listener right now and you made it this far, again, we appreciate you. And if you're a continued listener, you know that we appreciate you. We love you so much. You can then tweet us at Two Jersey Kids. We love interacting with you all, and we would love to cultivate a community, continue interacting with all you guys, and maybe eventually in the future, I dream of having like a party chat episode where I talk with fans of the podcast and they come on and we just chat the shit about video games and life, and it'd be a fun time. And I just appreciate me and Gary appreciate you all that do listen and do give us feedback and do take the time out of your day to actually listen to us ramble about video games for over an hour. It means a lot. It means the world to us. We couldn't ask for better Jersey Kids.
Indeed. And by the way, if you guys really do want to interact with me, like on Twitter, but also in a real personal setting, seriously, find me on Twitch. I will be on this weekend for hours on end. Please.
He will be on tonight. This episode is releasing on Friday. He will be on this Friday. So get excited. Yeah.
Seriously, I do like 6-hour streams here. I'm doing like legitimate hours here. So feel free to hang out. Again, SCAV3 NGER 18. Someone actually took Scavenger. Don't know why, but yeah, I had to change it, spice it up a little bit, if you will. So you can find me there.
I got an idea, Gary. You should be the old man and do the Scavenger 18. Add a the in front of it. The. There you go. But this has been episode 49 of the Two Jersey Kids podcast, the gaming podcast that is Two Jersey Kids, talking about video games every Friday. We will always be here for you all. We will never leave you. We appreciate you and love you so much. Remember, hit that subscribe button. You become a Jersey Kids. You become part of whatever this is, whatever we will be in the future. We love all the support of all you guys and gals out there. Gary, say bye.
Adios.
All right, y'all. Keep playing those games. We'll see you next Friday. Bye.